October 13th, 15. The spiritual courtroom opens, and your soul is on the stand. You may not see the robe of the judge or hear the gavel, but you can feel it somewhere deep inside your chest, like a pressure that has no name. These are not ordinary days. These are not random dates floating on a calendar. These are divine coordinates, a sacred intersection in time where everything you've endured, everything you've lost, everything you've questioned, and everything you've become is being measured, weighed, and prepared for assignment. And before anything is decided about your next season, heaven is looking at you, not at your performance, not at your perfection, at your alignment. Because this is not punishment. This is presentation. This moment is not about judgment. It's about revelation. Heaven isn't trying to catch you failing. Heaven is getting ready to confirm you. But I need you to listen to me with your spirit, not just with your ears. You can't sleep the same. You can't think the same. You can't pretend to be normal the way you used to. Something in you has shifted, and you can feel a pull you can't explain. That's not anxiety. That's not overthinking. That is summoning. Because when the spiritual courtroom opens, the chosen begin to tremble, not out of fear, but recognition. Let's slow down. Feel this moment. Where are you right now? Maybe it's midnight and the world around you is quiet. Maybe the only light in the room is the faint glow of your phone screen or the reflection of the moon on your window. But inside your chest, there's a storm, or maybe an ache, or maybe a calm so unfamiliar it almost scares you. This is what spiritual alignment feels like when the external reality looks still, but your inner world is reorganizing itself. Tell me if this sounds like you. You've been restless, but not without reason. You've been tired, but not just in your body. You've been questioning, but not because you lack faith, because you feel something coming. You don't want chaos. You don't want drama. You want truth. You want clarity. You want peace. You want confirmation. And I'm going to say the words your spirit has been dying to hear. You are not crazy. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are early. You are being positioned. You are being reviewed. Because you are being prepared for something bigger than you've experienced yet. Let's talk about the last few years. Because I know what you've lived through. Silent seasons where God felt distant. Nights where your pillow caught every tear. Moments where you said, "Why show me the vision if you're going to delay the promise?" You were isolated. You were misunderstood. You were stretched past your limits. And you thought this was God abandoning you. But listen, He was studying you. Because chosen ones don't go through easy preparation. They go through custom refinement. When average people break, chosen ones bend, and then become unrecognizable. Your strength was tested. Your loyalty was tested. Your discernment was tested. Your heart was tested. And while you thought you were buried, you were actually being rooted. Because you can't carry a decade of favor with shallow depth. You had to grow underground first. Now look at the signs. You're not here by accident. Even this message found you on purpose. Think about it. You've been waking up at strange hours, 2:22, 3:33, 4:44. You see repeating numbers everywhere, license plates, receipts, clocks, dreams. You get sudden chills, goosebumps, a rush of energy out of nowhere. A random song plays, but the lyrics feel like they were written just for you. You think about someone and they call, or text, or show up. You've had dreams, vivid dreams, the kind that feel more real than waking life. You sometimes hear a high-pitched ear ringing and for a moment time stops. You get this inner nudge. Pay attention. This matters. These aren't coincidences. These are codes. Heaven communicates through patterns, and your soul knows how to read them, even when your mind doesn't. So why the silence? Why did it feel like nothing was moving, even when your spirit was? Because silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. When the teacher is silent, the test has already begun. But here's what I need you to understand. In spiritual courts, silence means review. Heaven has been reviewing your case, your growth, your decisions, your alignment. Were you faithful when no one was watching? Did you let go when God told you to release? Did you grow when everything in you wanted to quit? Did you forgive, even without closure? Did you remain kind in a cruel world? If you're still here, if you didn't lose your heart, if you didn't let bitterness build a home inside you, you passed more tests than you realize. Let's talk about why these dates matter. October 13th, 15. Not the 12th. Not the 16th. October 13th, 15 is an energetic doorway. It is the hinge between cycles, the end of what drained you and the beginning of what defines you. Astrologically, it sits in a transitional space when planetary movements trigger reflection, release, and realignment. But this is deeper than astrology. This is a soul checkpoint, a divine audit, a spiritual courtroom. And your soul is on the stand, not to be condemned, but to be confirmed. This is when heaven decides who is ready to be elevated, who is still attached to what must be released, who truly learned the lessons of the last decade, who can be trusted with the next one. Yes, you heard me. October 13th, 15 will decide the next 10 years of your life. That's why you've been feeling the shift, why the air feels heavier, why your spirit is extra sensitive, why old patterns suddenly feel unbearable. Because destiny is approaching. And heaven is saying, are you aligned enough to receive it? Alignment isn't perfection, it's positioning. It's not about being flawless. It's about being available. Alignment is when your spirit, your decisions, your environment, and your direction all begin to agree with your assignment. You've felt the misalignment lately, haven't you? The friendships that suddenly feel heavy, the environments that drain your spirit, the conversations that leave you emptier, the habits that no longer match who you're becoming. That's not random. That's your soul saying, this version of me cannot enter the next decade. Which means, what you let go of in this season matters. What you choose to hold on to matters even more. This is spiritual cleanup before spiritual promotion. I know you're tired, but I also know you're ready. You didn't come this far just to watch others step into what you were designed for. Something in you is rising. You can feel the internal shift. You're craving peace more than attention. You're drawn to authenticity over acceptance. You're no longer chasing. You're attracting. You're not begging. You're aligning. You're not forcing. You're flowing. That's growth. That's maturity. That's spiritual evolution. That's proof you are ready. But let me tell you a secret. Heaven moves when you do. This is not passive waiting. This is active participation. How do you align? Not with perfection, with awareness. Start noticing your body. That tightness in your chest when something isn't right. Listen to it. That peace that comes out of nowhere when something is meant for you. Trust it. Your body is prophetic. It feels the truth before your mind processes it. And the more you honor your inner signals, the louder heaven speaks. Let me give you some signs you may have ignored. You've been craving solitude not because you're antisocial, but because your spirit is recalibrating. You've lost interest in fake conversations you can't pretend anymore. Your sleep schedule changed. Nighttime has become spiritual classroom. Your dreams are more symbolic staircases, doors, elevators, water, rooms, childhood, homes. You feel like something ended, even if nothing changed physically. You've been sensing that something big is about to happen. Guess what? You're right. This is preparation, not punishment. Waiting wasn't wasted time. It was construction time. God didn't hide answers from you. He hid you until the right moment. Because premature exposure kills destiny. He had to secure your identity before he multiplies your influence. What took 10 years to build will take 10 minutes to activate, but only if you are aligned. So what do you do between October 13th, 15? You pay attention. You listen more than you talk. You watch your emotions. You notice your instincts. You write down your dreams. You protect your peace like it's oxygen. You release what God already asked you to let go of. Most of all, you say yes without hesitation. Because when heaven calls your name during these days, how you respond determines what doors open next. Let me make this plain. If you ignore the signs, you will repeat the last 10 years. But if you align, you will recover everything the enemy tried to steal. You will accelerate faster than logic allows. You will walk through doors that weren't even built yet, and people will call it luck. But you will know. It was decided October 13th, 15. Take a breath. Feel that? That's your spirit remembering. This message is not introducing something new. It's confirming something you already felt in your bones. You were chosen, not because you're perfect, but because you said yes long before you understood what yes would cost. Now heaven is saying, it's time to step into what you were built for. Before we go deeper, I want you to declare something, out loud or in your mind. I am ready for alignment. I will not miss my moment. I accept the next 10 years of favor. If your spirit feels this, type 777 or 888 in the comments. Not for luck, but for alignment. 777. I'm ready for divine completion. 888. I'm ready for new beginnings. Let heaven and earth see your agreement. One more thing. Share this with someone you know feels the shift but can't explain it. You might be the confirmation they've been praying for. And let me leave you with this. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are standing on holy ground, in the quiet before the verdict. You've survived things no one knows about. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong in ways the world doesn't have language for. You have carried storms in silence. You have walked through fire with a smile on your face so others wouldn't worry. You have bled emotionally in the dark just to show up in the light. And too often you did it alone. Let's talk about the pain you never said out loud. The night you cried in your car so no one would hear you. The moment you questioned if God even remembered your name. The time you held everyone else together while you were falling apart. The silence you endured when the people you trusted the most suddenly changed. The betrayal you still feel in your bones even after you forgave. You may not talk about it anymore, but it still lives inside you. Not as weakness, but as proof that your heart stayed pure when it had every reason to harden. People saw your strength. God saw your sacrifice. And I need you to hear me with everything in you. Heaven has not forgotten what you survived. Heaven saw your battle. You didn't just go through hardship, you went through it awake, sensitive, feeling everything. You weren't numb, you were present. You absorbed it. You learned from it. You changed because of it. And yet, people still don't know how close you were to breaking. Not physically, spiritually. There were days where you said, I don't know how much more I can take. I'm doing everything right. Why is everything going wrong? I'm tired of being the strong one. Why do I feel unseen even by God? Let me tell you something that will shift everything. The strongest chosen ones experience the deepest isolation before elevation. Not because God abandoned you, but because He was transforming you. There is a kind of power God cannot place on unrefined souls. There is an anointing too heavy for the unprocessed spirit. There is a level of influence that requires your roots to go so deep that storms cannot uproot you. You wanted elevation. God gave you depth. You wanted breakthrough. God built your foundation. You wanted speed. God gave you stability. Not to punish you, to protect you. You were being prepared. Let me say this clearly. Some of the doors that stayed closed were God being merciful to your future. He didn't let certain opportunities work out, not because you weren't ready to receive them, but because they weren't ready to hold you. He didn't let certain people stay, not because you weren't lovable, but because their presence would have diluted your purpose. He didn't let certain seasons accelerate, because he didn't want to bless you, but because he wanted to sustain you. A blessing given too early becomes a burden. A platform without character becomes a trap. A relationship without alignment becomes a cage. You asked God for more. God said, "Let me make sure you're unshakable first." That's not punishment. That's strategy. It felt cruel. It felt silent. It felt like being forgotten. There were days you prayed and nothing happened. There were nights you begged and nothing changed. There were moments where it felt like even heaven turned its face away. But there's something most people don't understand. God often goes silent right before acceleration. Why? Because silence is not abandonment. Silence is sacred. In the silence, heaven watches. In the silence, your true motives surface. In the silence, your character is revealed. In the silence, your maturity is proven. When the teacher stops talking, the test has started. When God stopped speaking, he wasn't gone. He was observing. Would you quit just because you didn't hear him? Would you compromise just to feel something? Would you lean on distractions or lean into growth? And you, oh, chosen one, you did something profound. You stayed. Even when you didn't feel God, you trusted him. Even when nothing worked, you kept going. Even when your heart was shattered, you didn't let it turn cold. That kind of loyalty cannot be taught. It can only be refined. Heaven took note of every moment you stayed, faithful when faith felt foolish. You don't just believe in God. You've wrestled with him. You've asked raw questions. You've been honest in prayer. You've surrendered without having the answers. And here's the truth. People who have wrestled with God carry a different kind of authority. Jacob wrestled and walked away with a limp, but also with a new name. You've walked with a spiritual limp too, but you're also walking with a new identity. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, or 2 years ago, or even 6 months ago. And yet, most people don't even know how much you've grown. They still treat you like your old version. They still assume they understand you. They still think you're predictable. They have no idea. Because God has been upgrading you in private. He has been giving you new eyes to see differently, new ears to hear differently, new discernment to choose differently, new boundaries to live differently. He has been forming something in you that bought or staged. And that's why lately, you've felt the shift. You've sensed something changing, not in the world around you first, but inside you. Let me guess. You've lost tolerance for things that used to entertain you. You can't explain it, but your spirit feels allergic to certain environments now. You feel physically uncomfortable around fake energy. You get drained by shallow conversations. You crave solitude not because you're antisocial, but because your spirit is recalibrating. You are detoxing from everything that disconnects you from God. That's alignment working in real time. And heaven is watching. You are not just different. You are spiritually sensitive on purpose. While others sleep through their calling, you feel the tension between realms. You sense when a shift is coming. You can feel energy in rooms before anyone speaks. You notice patterns in events like puzzle pieces coming together. You pick up on spiritual interference even when nothing looks wrong on the surface. That's not paranoia. That's discernment. and it's one of your greatest gifts. But that also means your attacks have been greater, because the enemy doesn't fight the loudest people. He fights the most dangerous people. Not dangerous because of power, but because of clarity. The truly dangerous chosen ones are the ones who finally understand who they are. And you are closer than ever. The attacks increased before October for a reason. Have you noticed? Right when you started growing, distractions showed up. Right when your discernment sharpened, familiar temptations returned. Right when your spirit started rising, spiritual warfare got heavier. Why? Because the enemy always attacks hardest right before elevation. He knows something is scheduled. He saw heaven preparing the courtroom. He felt the shift coming before you even understood it. So he tried to tire you out. He tried to flood you emotionally. He tried to make you retreat. He tried to convince you nothing was changing. But you're still here, standing, listening, expecting. That means you won, even if you felt weak, even if you felt broken, even if you cried. You still didn't quit. And that chosen one, that is what qualified you. You don't even realize it yet, but your survival was your proof. Heaven watched you go through battles that were designed to break you, but they didn't. And because they didn't, you just entered a different category, a category of people. Hell cannot intimidate. A category of people heaven can trust. A category of people destiny is waiting for. You're not just chosen, you're proven. And when the spiritual courtroom opens, heaven will not be asking, are they perfect? Heaven will be declaring, they are ready. You didn't just survive. You matured. You didn't just endure. You evolved. You didn't just wait. You were reshaped into someone heaven can trust. And now everything is starting to make sense. Because finally, you're realizing this. Your suffering wasn't random. Your isolation wasn't punishment. Your delay wasn't denial. Your heartbreak wasn't failure. It was refinement. It was activation. It was alignment. It is agreement. It's when your soul, your choices, and your future finally point in the same direction. It's when your spirit says, I refuse to shrink, even if it means being alone for a while. It's when you stop chasing validation and start protecting your peace. It's when you stop forcing doors and start allowing destiny. It's when you start saying, no, I don't accept toxicity just to feel needed. No, I don't play small, so others stay comfortable. Yes, I will move differently now. Yes, I will trust the pull in my spirit even when I can't explain it to anyone. That is alignment. And heaven celebrates alignment. But there's something deeper. Alignment is a spiritual contract. When you align, you silently tell heaven, I'm ready to carry what you give, not just wish for it. And heaven responds, now I can release what was always yours. But before the release, there is always the test of cycles. Let's talk about spiritual seasons. Not in a shallow way, this is deeper than trends or motivational talk. Chosen ones move in cycles, not clocks. You have felt the cycles. Cycle of stripping. Things were removed. Identities shattered. Attachments broken. Cycle of silence. Heaven got quiet. Friends disappeared. You got still. Cycle of awakening. You started seeing truth. You felt energy shifts. Patterns appeared. Cycle of discomfort. You couldn't tolerate what felt misaligned. Your spirit began to rebel against smallness. Cycle of preparation. You became intentional. You healed. You set boundaries. You prayed differently. And now, you are entering the cycle of activation. This one is different, because activation isn't gentle. It's sudden. It's intense. It's permanent. Activation is when heaven announces you, not to the world first, but in the spiritual courtroom, where the verdict is spoken, where destinies are unlocked, where new assignments are released, where the last 10 years are reviewed, and the next 10 years are written. And this time, you're not walking in as a victim. You're walking in as a survivor, as a witness, as evidence of God's faithfulness. Heaven isn't trying to see if you deserve it. Heaven already knows you do. Now it's about alignment of your spirit with your future. Because the question is no longer, are you worthy? The question is, are you willing? Willing to let go of expired connections. Willing to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Willing to protect your energy like treasure. Willing to stop living on spiritual crumbs when you were called to the table. Willing to step into rooms you once felt too small for. Willing to say yes without hesitation. Because you cannot carry a decade of destiny with a uneasy, hesitant spirit. Your full yes activates a full release. But listen, chosen one, heaven is already giving you signs, and lately, they've been increasing. Tell me if this is happening to you. Vivid dreams filled with symbols, doors, elevators, staircases, childhood homes, storms clearing, repeating numbers stacking nonstop, 111, 2 and 22, 333, 5 and 55, 1010, 144, 717, 818, 1212. Sudden ear ringing that freezes time and pulls your attention inward, feeling like something or someone is off even before anything happens. Time feeling strange, days moving fast, hours stretching slow. Old wounds rising not to hurt you, but to heal you completely. Bursts of energy followed by deep stillness. Random memory flashes like your soul sorting data. Sudden peace in the middle of chaos. Feeling the presence of God stronger than usual even doing normal tasks. Goosebumps or chills during conversations, especially when truth is spoken.